Yo, what's up, Aries? Welcome to your monthly forecast for the month of April 2018. Aries, a lot of important astrology stuff happening this month. We've got Mercury, which is going to be turning direct in your sign mid-month, and then on the same day, we have the new moon, which is also in your sign. 2 days after that, on April 17th, we've got Chiron, which is changing signs. It's actually moving into your sign. It's going to be there until April 14th, 2027. That's a long time. And then we've got Saturn, which is going retrograde, and also Pluto, which is going retrograde. So a lot of celestial action happening this month. And the sun is going to be in your sign, Aries, throughout the month of April 2018. It's not going to change signs until April 19th. So the first 3 weeks of April, the sun is going to be in your sign. The focus is on you. This is a time for new beginnings for you. And I think a lot of you need to let go of outdated baggage because the sun is in your sign now. So the last thing you want to do is bring anything outdated into this time of new beginnings for you. And I think this is really substantial, it's more substantial now than it ever has been before, because you also have Chiron, which is moving into your sign. Chiron's an asteroid in our solar system, and it stays in each sign for a pretty long time. So this is Chiron entering your sign. It's going to retrograde out of your sign back into Pisces, and then it's going to move back into. I'll talk more about that later, but the fact that it's moving into your sign now it's indicating that there's a new chapter ahead for you, Aries. So, especially for you, Aries, that are just clinging on to this outdated crap in your life, or, anything that doesn't fit your situation anymore. Like Chiron changing signs and moving into your sign is something really significant. And it's an indication that there's new beginnings ahead and a time for you to let go of anything that's outdated in your life. But those are the main themes for you, Aries, for the month of April 2018. Now I'm going to talk about some more specific major astrological events that are set to occur this month and what they mean for you. Right off the bat, on April 2nd, we have Mars, which is going to align with Saturn. So this is difficult because Mars always wants to forge ahead and Saturn wants to restrict. And this has to do with your career. So if you're feeling like, you could feel on April 2nd, you could feel simultaneously like you want to forge ahead with something, but at the same time, you could feel restricted by Saturn's influence. So I'm not saying all Aries are dealing with a difficult situation in your career, but if you are feeling that sort of like stop-go type of situation or stop-go type of energy, you can attribute it to Mars aligning with Saturn. On April 4th, Mercury retrograding in your sign, it's going to aspect Mars, and Mars is in this area that has to do with your career situation. So I think communicating about yourself is not going to be as easy as you think it is on April 4th. Actually, to be completely honest with you, I would save the communicating about yourself maybe for another day. So, it's up to you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't communicate about yourself on April 4th. Just know that if you are trying to communicate about yourself, especially in your career, or maybe potentially this has to do with the way you're perceived by the public, you might have a little bit of a difficulty with it because the angle that Mars is making to Mercury, and on top of that, Mercury is retrograding in your sign, so that can make the communication process very difficult. So just proceed cautiously when you're communicating about yourself on April 4th in your career, and potentially there might be some assertive individuals around you on that day. On April 7th, Venus will aspect Saturn positively. So here we go. Here's a nice one for you. And this has to do with your money, and this has to do with your professional life. Venus is the planet of money. It's transiting your sector of money on April 7th. It's making a beautiful aspect to Saturn. And this says something long-term about your professional life and about the area of where you earn your money, Aries. So I think this is a nice one. And, whatever's happening on April 7th, it might be some sort of indication of something long-term that's entering into the professional sector of your life. So Saturn's going to be in this area of your professional life until December 2020, and Saturn's a planet of restructure. So some of you, I'm not saying all of you, but some of you might undergo some sort of restructuring of what you do in your professional situation. And it's going to last until December 2020. That's a long time. And this is for the positive. Saturn is a planet that has to do with fate. So whatever's changing or restructuring in your professional life, it's just aligning you for your life's purpose. On April 11th, the sun will make an aspect to Jupiter, which is retrograding. This one might have to do, the sun's going to be in your sign on April 11th, and this one might have to do with a change of direction when it comes to Jupiter's retrograding, so maybe you're making some revisions in your shared resource situation, potentially if you share your resources with somebody. For others of you, it might be more about a change of direction or adjustments in, it might have to do with a business partnership or with an investment potentially, or for some of you this might have to do with a contract of some sort. So it's going to resonate differently for all of you, but you can definitely expect some sort of maybe either a change of direction regarding a shared resource situation, or if it's not that, then potentially it's adjustments within a shared resource situation. Maybe has to do, for others, this might have to do more with business partnership, contract, investment, business deal, negotiation, any of the aforementioned. On April 15th, finally, Mercury turning direct in your sign. It's been retrograding since March 22nd. It's not the easiest influence to go through, especially with Mercury in your sign retrograding. So, it's when Mercury's in your sign, it's all about communication about yourself. Because it's in your sign, so you're talking about yourself, and when it goes retrograde, it makes it a little bit difficult to get your ideas across clearly, and even the thinking becomes, a little bit more disoriented. I'm not saying like totally disoriented, but if for example, like if you're typing something, or if you're typing a text message or an email or something, make sure you look at it twice while Mercury's retrograding, because I guarantee if you look at it again before you send it, you'll realize there might be some mistakes there. So that's something interesting about that. But it might be a little bit difficult to communicate about yourself up until April 15th. Once Mercury starts moving forward again in your sign on April 15th, communication should be a lot easier, especially when it comes to conveying your ideas. On April 17th, before we jump to that, on April 15th, there's also a new moon in your sign. So this is going to start a whole fresh new energy for you, Aries. So the new moon's going to hit on April 15th, and the 6 months that follow April 15th. Now, all of a sudden, potentially some new beginnings are coming into your life in the 6 months that follow April 15th, Aries, because this is in your sign. So this is the start of a new beginning. Just like I said in the beginning of the forecast, anything outdated in your life that no longer suits you, especially with Chiron moving into your sign for a long time, this is a whole new chapter ahead, Aries. Embrace it. On April 17th, here we go, Chiron entering your sign. Now follow me on this one. This gets a little bit meticulous here. So we've got Chiron entering your sign. It's an asteroid in our solar system. This asteroid actually has to do with sensitivity, and this is interesting because most of you are not sensitive people. So this is going to bring, when Chiron goes into your sign, it's going to bring moments of sensitivity to your life, probably more frequently than you've had in the past. And Chiron's going to enter your sign on April 17th, and then it's going to go retrograde in your sign on July 5th, and then it'll go retrograde so much that it'll retrograde out of your sign and back into the sign that comes before you, which is Pisces. And it'll be in Pisces until December 9th, it'll go it's retrograding until December 9th. And then it'll start to move forward again in Pisces on December 9th, and then eventually it'll move back into your sign. It'll move forward again into your sign, and it'll be there until April 14th, 2027. This is a whole new chapter for you, Aries. There's a level of sensitivity that might be coming to you. Now, you just have to watch with this influence. Chiron is about sensitivity. Chiron's also about making way bigger of a deal out of things than it really needs to be. So just keep that in mind between now and until April 14th, 2027. So this whole new chapter of your life, you just got to watch out for the tendency to there might be moments where you're going to be too sensitive about something. So just know that it's the influence of Chiron that might be making you feel that way. That might be something to, help you find comfort if you have any sort of moments that I'm talking about. On April 17th, also Saturn's going to start to retrograde. This is happening in an area that has to do with your career situation. This Saturn is going to retrograde until September 6th. This has to do with your professional life. Maybe, Saturn's about a restructuring, so maybe there's potentially something that needs to be restructured in your career during this time. Or, if that's not the case, then potentially this might cause a delay of some sort. Like, maybe you want to push ahead with professional plans, but Saturn's retrograding, so Saturn's saying, hold on, review, R for retrograde, R for review. Once again, retrograde's where the planet looks like it's going backwards. It's not really going backwards, but it looks like it is. But you're not ready to, I'm not saying that you can't make progress with your professional life between April 17th and September 6th while Saturn's retrograding, but whatever needs to be pushed forward, you may have an easier time doing it following September 6th when Saturn starts to move forward again, and Pluto too. So Pluto's also going to go retrograde in the same area, professional area for you, April 22nd. Pluto's not going to go forward until September 30th, and Pluto has to do more with intensity. So this might bring up some more intense moments in your career between April 22nd and September 30th while it's retrograding. And then on April 29th, there's a full moon in an area for you that has to do with shared resources. It has to do with business partnerships, contracts, deals, negotiations. There might be a development in any of the aforementioned following the full moon on April 29th, Aries. But I think that's all I have for you this month. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, share, and like. I'm on Instagram as Gregory Furlan Astrology, so make sure to follow me there. Have a great month, and I'll see you next time.